and glad you're here. Welcome to, I got to start over. Welcome to my podcast, Enchanted Empath. This is a podcast for your soul. I'm Charlene Murphy, soul coach and spiritual teacher on a mission to help you remember how amazingly brilliant you are and to access your inner brilliance and your inner magic so that you can heal your body, you can manifest anything, and you can create a life that you absolutely love. All by yourself. No kidding. Okay, guys, so feel free to chat, chime in, say hello, let me know who's here, who you are. If you have any questions that pop up during the conversation, feel free to ask them. I'm here to do some coaching as well. So today I want to talk about one of my favorite-ish kind of topics. And it's my favorite-ish because I see a lot of people get in trouble with it, right? And it's all about soulmates and twin flames. So I want to talk about the trouble with soulmates and twin flames. And then I want to talk about a solution, right? So anything that is disempowering, I want to spin it and twist it so that it can become very empowering. So let's talk about soulmates. So the popular definition of a soulmate is almost grounded in like Disney rom-com fantasy stuff, where I see a lot of people get really tripped up with their concept or their idea and their definition of soulmate, meaning and attaching a lot of meaning to it that includes a lot of scarcity and lack and limitation. So let me give you an example, right? So, I'll get people call me and say, is so-and-so my soulmate? And I will just automatically think, well, yes, because they're in your life. That's how easy it is for me. So I have very simple terms that I define my life by. And for me, a soulmate is simply somebody who comes into your life who teaches you about love. They just basically teach you how to love better. And a lot of times that lesson about loving better is about loving yourself better. Right. And so we kind of get it a little twisted. I love a romantic comedy just as much as the next person, but I think we get a little twisted and we attach so much more meaning into things. And we have a tendency to put love and relationships on a pedestal. And I'm here to bring it all back down to where it belongs. So I need to back up, I guess, a little bit. And kind of explain my perspective, I guess. And so everybody has their own perspective, of course, right? And everybody in my world has the freedom to choose whatever they want to believe. And so that's kind of the basis of this whole conversation, is that I don't believe very many things are set in stone. I do believe that there are universal laws and physical laws that govern the universe, physical law being gravity. We can measure it, we can see it, we see the effects of it. And then the metaphysical universal laws like law of attraction. And so this is where I come from. And this is what I choose to believe. I fully believe that we are always attracting to us what we're feeling, what we're thinking, what's going on consciously, unconsciously, subconsciously, all of that. That's why living an aware life is really important. And that's why I do the work that I do. So if you break down the whole idea of soulmate, which let me give you the popular kind of definition about that. It's pretty limiting. It feels like a lot of people think that maybe they have one soulmate, maybe two if they're lucky. And if they meet their soulmate, or their whole goal is to meet their soulmate, then they might miss something, or they just try to keep it and they try to turn it into something else. There's a lot of efforting happening when it comes to the idea of soulmate. Okay. So it's just the ideas. So hopefully this conversation will help you clarify your definition of soulmate so that you can live a life with ease and grace and allowing love to just flow into your life so easily and gracefully without attaching all those who's and how's and all that business of the universe. So when we talk about law of attraction and we talk about setting intentions, right? And these desires that are born within us as a result, typically, usually, of a contrasting situation, we know enough to say, okay, universe, it's yours. Here, you do the rest. I am going to leave the hows up to you, right? We all learned that from The Secret, from Mike Dooley. He is famous for saying, the hows are the domain of the universe. Give them back to the universe where they belong, so that we're not micromanaging, we're not controlling, we're not limiting ourselves to our puny little perspective, because we do have small perspectives. The universe is vast and big and large, right? And so when we can open ourselves up to the magic of the universe and play with that, then we release ourselves from any self-imposed limitations. And I do see a lot where when we're too caught up in that term soulmate or twin flame, we do impose those limits on ourselves, right? So let's unpack this a little bit more. So if you are a subscriber of the belief of soulmate, which you are free to, it's your choice, you are agreeing to predestination. You are agreeing to maybe a one and only. And if you believe in the whole twin flame theory, then you believe that your other half is out there, right? And so I just offer you to question all of that. And what are the origins? Does it really make sense? Does it fit your alignment with how you see the world, right? So just the whole concept of the twin flame was invented, or at least first heard of, by Plato, who wrote a dialogue called the Symposium. And, in the Symposium, which is a story, a fable, a fairy tale, he claimed that, humans had two faces, four arms, four legs. And there was something about, the gods splitting them in half. And then that's how everybody has their other half, their twin flame out there. And so if we know the origin of that, we know it's based in fable and fairy tale. We can continue to believe that if it works for us, but for the majority of us, it doesn't quite work. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And as the spiritual soul coach that I am, I really do believe that we are complete and whole individually by ourselves, and that another person doesn't complete us. Another soul is not the other half to our missing soul. There is nothing missing here. We are complete and we are whole. And so when we attract a lover or somebody into our lives that add that spark of romance and juiciness, then it's like dessert is I think a really healthy way to see that, instead of you complete me kind of stuff. Because if you're hinging all of your happiness on the completion of somebody else's presence, well, that leaves you vulnerable. And I am all about empowerment, and I love love just like everybody else, trust me. But I also am very grounded in our humanity, and I'm grounded in the different perspectives that we all share, and those concepts that are just thrown around, especially in the metaphysical world, that I find to be very disempowering and very limiting. Soul coach, Soulmate is one, twin flame is another, Mercury retrograde is another, any religion is another. I'm not here to offend anybody, but if we can really examine our beliefs and our thoughts and what belongs to us and what we picked up along the way, when we were little kids, and what the church said and what our parents said and what the school said and all that stuff, and really dissect our beliefs and our patterns of thinking and clean it up. It's like we have this filing system in here that I think we need to explore and clean up on occasion. And I remember the story of one of my spiritual teachers, Michael Bernard Beckwith. He's the spiritual director over at Agape in Southern California. And he wrote in one of his books, and he speaks of this in his sermons quite often. It's like, remember like when you were a little kid and you see some candy on the ground or whatever, and you go to pick it up and put it in your mouth, and your mom slaps your hand and says, "Put that down. You don't know where that came from." Well, we have to have that same level of thought or guarding as with our thoughts, as well as those stray candies, right? It's the same thing. It's like, where did that thought come from? Why do you believe in soulmates? Why do you plan your life around Mercury retrograde or fill in the blanks, right? Some of this stuff is just fun. But I think a lot of people take it to an extreme where it can really hinder their happiness and block them from the thing that they're wanting the most, right? Love. So going back to my definition of soulmate, are people who come into our lives to teach us about love. Nice and easy. So guess what? That includes your mother, your father, your relatives, teachers, pets, lovers, siblings, children, and there's so many different levels of love that we learn. So guess what? We have a plethora of soulmates. I do believe that the people who come into our life and just kind of stick or make an impression, they don't necessarily have to stick around, but they just stick. There's something about them that makes you go, they're soulmates. They're people who attracted soul to soul, that there's some connection there. And then we have the opportunity and the choice to either grow that connection or not, right? But when we come into a more empowering position of looking at soulmates as people who we attract into our lives that teach us about love, well, then that puts us in a pretty healthy state of attraction, right? I'm all about it. And then you also in turn are somebody about love. So let me share a little bit about the different kinds of soulmates. So the first one that always pops into my head when I think of soulmate was my fourth grade teacher. She was a temporary teacher, and her name was Mrs. Love. I mean, really, Mrs. Love. And she looked like an angel. Sometimes I wonder if she really existed or if I dreamed this. That's another debate altogether. But she came in and to our school just for a couple of months, maybe 3 months. And she was the kindest, softest, prettiest woman I'd ever seen. My mom didn't live with us anymore. They were already split up and stuff. So it was just my dad, and he dated other people. And home life was chaotic and disruptive and a little scary sometimes. And so I was so drawn to Mrs. Love, like a flame or a moth to a flame. I just loved her so much. She embodied love and kindness. And I remember running into her when I was riding my bike one day, and she was at her house. I didn't know that she lived there, but then she invited me in. She introduced me to her kids. She fed me. And then I would go there a lot. And then she always welcomed me in. And I was like, oh man, I want this woman to be my mom, right? And so I'm like 9 years old, you know how the fantasies go. And one day I go into school and she's writing this address. She's already having a conversation with the class. I came in late for some reason. She's writing this address on the board and she says, if you want to write me, or you can always find me here. This is my new address. I'm going to be moving. I was devastated. I just remember just being a ball of tears and sadness that day because she was leaving. So in my 9-year-old brain, I conjured up this plan to run away from home, and so she could adopt me and I can live with them, right? Who hasn't had that fantasy? And so that didn't quite work out. And then I never saw her after that, but she made such a huge impression on me. I became a teacher as a result of this, you know. So she is definitely a soulmate, probably one of my very first positive soulmates, where I wanted more. And there was an expansiveness about that, you know. And then, you know, my father, of course, is a soulmate, and he taught me all kinds of stuff about love. And mostly how to love myself. And then my first marriage, well, my only marriage, he was also a soulmate, and he turned out to be physically abusive and taught me big lessons, huge lessons about self-care, self-love, self-worth, all that. So I give him lots of credit for being one of the most impactful soulmates of my life. So that I really turned myself around as a result of that relationship, right? So soulmates aren't always sticky, sweet, kind, lovely. Some of them are, and many of them are, and yay, that's great. And then other ones are a little rough around the edges so that we can maybe learn how to love ourselves better. Any way this comes, though, it's always growing us. It's always expanding our hearts. It's always offering us experiences so that and with those contrasting experiences of I don't want this is painful. So now a new experience is born, a new desire is born that gets us closer to our Mecca, you know, our higher self, and to those things that we truly desire. So this whole conversation, I guess, is just an invitation for you to ask yourself, what are your thoughts about soulmates and twin flames? Are they helping you or are they hurting you? You know, I see a lot of people with strong attachments to people. And I get it. We get connected. We do form those connections. But I also do believe that there's more. There's more for us. And one of the things that I see too is fear. There's a lot of fear around, well, if I don't make this relationship work with this soulmate, then I probably won't get another chance. And so we force it, we turn ourselves inside out, we do all kinds of painful things to ourselves that cause even more suffering because we don't have the confidence that there's somebody else, so there's somebody better. And I always like to say, you know, step back. It's like, wait a minute, you attracted this person, right? And now you're vibrating at a different level. Maybe you're expanding and growing and wanting more. And so now you're going to be attracting at even a higher level. But if you attracted this person, then why couldn't you attract the next one? And you attracted all those other people, you know, soulmates and friends and family and all those people, then why would it just stop? Why would it just end? That doesn't make any sense to me. So there's this continuum that happens. And as we mature spiritually, we actually attract better, hopefully, and better. Because when we were maybe in our 20s, we didn't know what we wanted, right? And so we attracted all kinds of fun stuff to experiment with. At least I did. I know that. And now my taste, my preferences, my ideas of a more ideal partnership is much more narrow, right? Much more narrow. So now I attract in that concentrated kind of level. So it means higher quality, less quantity. And so, but it's always in the works. We're always in that attraction factor. And if we believe in soulmates, then we're signing up for predestination, which says that you don't have free will. I have a hard time swallowing that. I am all about empowerment and free will and choice and attraction. And so when we know these concepts, then we can just attract better. And then we can understand that when we're in a relationship and maybe it's going sideways or things just aren't working according to your original goal, know that they're working for a higher goal. They're working to put you where you really want to be, with a more appropriate person, maybe even. And so to have a perspective that is more fluid, like water, and allowing and graceful, I think is a really healthy way to live our lives. And I know a lot of people master this whole concept when it comes to manifesting, say, a job or money. But when it comes to love and romance, do we get twisted, right? So if we can remember how easy it is to manifest the other things in our lives, then we can apply that simplicity, grace, and ease with regards to relationships as well, because it's all the same. It's all the same, right? So you may be sitting next to your soulmate and enjoying the day, and that is awesome. That is great. And some of us have those connections that seem like they're going to be forever, and they do last forever, and that's awesome. I am not knocking soulmates. I'm not knocking them. I'm asking us to look at our beliefs and our definition of them so that we can leverage them in a more positive light, right? And I would even say just throw out that whole twin flame thing, because it's based in mythology or a story. And I just don't even think that that's it's just not even a sound concept to carry around anymore, or at least for me. You are free to do whatever you want with your beliefs and your thoughts, though, right? That's what all of this is about. I just encourage everyone to choose thoughts and beliefs that serve, that help you grow, So yeah, Einstein's one of my favorite people that's ever graced the earth. And he says, question everything. I'm all about it. I love questioning everything, and I find it so ironic that we're living in this mad cancel culture right now that talks about fake news and everybody's so untrusting and pessimistic and all that, but they'll plan their life around Mercury retrograde and still look for their soulmate and all this other stuff. And I'm like, we're not quite matching there. So when we can get cohesive and really integrate our spirituality with our humanity, then we're running on all cylinders, and life just becomes more easy. So just know that you are this attractor. You are always attracting to yourself. And if you're not attracting somebody or something or a situation that pleases you, you can shift that. You can always shift that. You have all the power. You have all the control. And so instead of cursing a situation, and I see a lot of empaths do this a lot, where they think, well, if I break up with this person who I feel like I have vibrated away from, and I can't attract another one, or I attract the same one over and over again. There's another big fear. Oh my God, I keep attracting the same person over and over. I'm here to say that when you're awake and when you become more aware of energy, that you can sense that energy coming a mile away, like the train coming down the track, and you can step off the track and you can get yourself in a healthier place to attract better or attract differently. And it's easy. It really is. How that works is you can say, well, I don't like this about this situation that I continue to attract. And then you take it over here. This is your gift. This is your present. You plop it on the table. You unwrap it. You open it and say, what's in there for me? Why do I continue to attract this? Oh, okay. It's serving me somehow. How is it serving me? All right. Well, I'm tired of it. I don't want it anymore. So what do I want? So we can just gather some intel and information and data from our past behaviors, and then we can switch it up. And now we go back to the drawing board and we can say, this is what I want instead. All right, I like those bits and pieces of that last one, except for, that was a deal breaker. Okay, so then we're over here building our new ideal relationship, for example, right? And I call that, when I teach workshops, I call that your Frankenperson. It's like design your Frankenperson. It's like bits and pieces of things that you like, and then eliminating the things that you learned that you don't like. It's all, the Goldilocks effect, big time. So we don't know what we want or desire until we try certain things, or at least some of us. Some of us are experiential learners. Other people can observe other people and go, I'm not doing that. I'm an experiential learner and an experiential teacher. And so yeah, we have to try some things on. And then, like I said, though, as we mature and we get more aware of energy, especially, we can predict things. We can see the patterns of things, and then we can navigate around them. We can change them, right? And so we can set into motion our intentions about relationship and what that feels like. And a lot of my clients, I have them tell me what that feels like with your ideal person. Okay, so it's Saturday. It's your guys' day off. What are you doing? How are you spending the day? What do you feel? How are you feeling? And just really get into the imagination of that. And then that puts you in a really strong place to bring it into manifestation into your life. So the last thing I kind of want to touch on is like this whole concept of attachment versus intention. So a lot of people will set their intention to attract their ideal partner, and then here comes somebody, and then boom, they label them right away, right? We are so quick to draw conclusions. It's just a part of our nature. And that's what I'm saying. Whoa, let's slow down. Let's slow our roll a little bit, right? And unpack that and gather the intel and data. So we set the intention, and then here comes this person, and we label, and then we are attached. And that's my soulmate. That's my soulmate. And we insist that's my soulmate. And I'm like, yes, you're right. It is your soulmate. But we don't know. That doesn't mean that this person you're going to marry them and have 2.5 kids and, live happily ever after. That's not the definition of a soulmate. So yes, this person came into your life, you attracted this person, and now you get to learn about love. I wonder what those lessons are. So then we can open and fluid to those lessons and to the lessons that we're teaching them, as well as receiving. And that can be fun. So if we have the intention of having and attracting a loving, equitable, kind, peaceful relationship versus I want Joe, 35, brown hair, drives a green truck, letting go of those attachments or those concepts that are just so limiting, and open ourselves up to our intention and lead by our intentions, and then attract by our intentions. And then with all of my intentions that I say, I never like to limit myself. So I'll say, or better at the end of it, or better. So, so that way, it's me recognizing my limited mind. I only have one perspective. I get it. And I also realize that there's so much more magic out there happening around us and on our behalves and all of that. So I talked a lot. I don't see any comments yet. So drop me a line and let me know what you think about these whole terms of soulmate and twin flame, and maybe drop in some other ones that make you scratch your head and go, are these thoughts and beliefs serving me, helping me, or hurting me? Are they mine? Where did they come from? Do I still want them? I don't know. So maybe do a little bit of house cleaning around that, just so you can be in a more fluid, graceful, joyous place, and know that the universe has your back. This is such a benevolent and beautiful place. And what we're attracting is just a complete reflection of your thoughts and beliefs. And so we all need to do a little housekeeping from time to time. Okay. So I thought this was a fun topic for spring, because love is in the air. It's classic. It's seasonal. It's time. So I want you to keep your awareness in check, keep your intentions in check, keep yourself open and fluid to all of the potential and possibilities of all of the love that is wanting to come into your life. And just say yes, yes, or no, next, whatever is appropriate for you. All right. Until next week, everybody, take extra good care of yourself, sending you tons of love. All right. Bye for now.